Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Leaky Leaker episode, I guess you could say. It's January 4th at about 10 in the morning. And I'm making this video, one, to talk about how things get leaked, why things get leaked, then also just pretty much say I know where Eagle's going. January 4th. I've known for 2 weeks, but I want to document this morning. And that way, hopefully, even though Simon put the leaker stuff to the side, you guys can also understand that people have messaged me, tweeted me, whatever. And I've obviously not given any hints or inklings this year to on years prior when the manufacturer leaks things. I think it becomes okay to talk about it. If Discmania, House of Discs, whatever, can't keep quiet of people's personal information on where people are going, then I have no obligation to them or their leakingness of their trying to sell mystery boxes and Eagle discs and whatever. I have no obligation to that company in order to keep quiet. So it's the same thing that happened with Simon. Simon's departure video was also an ad for a new disc because obviously Discmania didn't want to lose the revenue and have all these discs that they can't sell. So it's a weird thing to me that they spoil their own thing, but then also are trying to sell product. It's like you think if you're invested in selling a product, you would also be invested in being quiet so that your player could sell the product before they leave. I don't know, it's just a weird thing to me. But moral of the story, how I look at it, I know Brody and Yuli on Tour Life have talked about this a lot. I don't really think, just like I don't think you can spoil live sports. If people inside the contract can't keep it a secret, I truthfully am not a firm believer that it's a spoiler. Simon never texted me and said, hey, I'm leaving MVP, I'm leaving Discmania, I'm going to MVP, shh, don't tell anybody, it's a secret. Then I go tell 50 people at League. That's not what happens here. These manufacturers are telling the other companies or telling other players or telling whoever, oh, hey, by the way, yeah, Eagle's gone and he's going to here. Or, oh, Eagle's gone and he's going over there. Like, these are the companies that are actually creating the problem, because I wouldn't know this information I know about Eagle 2 weeks ago if it wasn't for the brand releasing it. And it's not the brand that he's going to, it's the brand that he actually left, from what I heard. And again, I've learned this from a credible source. I'm not going to call anybody out or who gave it to me or who did whatever. It's not really my business to tell of who told me. But I have known for a while, and I do think it's an odd take that people get so upset and willing to literally call you names and not be a fan of you when they're not realizing that the problem is a root issue much deeper than I could ever even be involved, because I don't talk to these companies. I'm Open Bag, sponsored by Infinite Disc, own Finish Line Disc. That if I send a DM to Discmania, they're never going to tell me, oh yeah, Simon's leaving. But what they do is they tell the other higher ups in the companies. They tell, Simon's leaving, and so they tell Eagle or whatever it is. I'm not saying Eagle leaked it. I don't even know. But it just starts to trickle down of, oh crap, what do we do? And then, oh hey, we need to stamp all these and get rid of all these and start a campaign. Well, why? Oh, well, yeah, Simon's leaving. And then you have the guy packing boxes in the warehouse, hearing that information, bing, 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 before you know it, it's a done deal. So, from the information I know, from a very reliable source, Eagle McMahon is going to MVP discs. And again, 2 weeks ago I knew this. Today's January 4th. Yeah, that's where he's going. That's what I know. And I know that it obviously got leaked, trickle-down effect through the company he's leaving. Prodigy is famous for or not famous. I don't know if they're famous for anything, really. But they, Matty O left, and they said, oh, congratulations, Matty O signing with West Side Discs. It's like I feel like there's something with these companies where they almost want to spoil it. Like there's something in them. And, of course, Prodigy is a much different situation than, these other brands. But, it's just a weird thing to me to say, oh, Matty O, congratulations on your contract at West Side Discs. It's like they haven't got a chance to announce it. Emerson, on Innova, they announced his thing just by putting him on the team website. And they know people, I mean, the first of the year, stuff in disc golf starts to really move. So, of course, people are going to be looking at the site, and there's other players sharing, hey, Team Innova, Team Innova. And they just put Emerson on there, you know, where he was just at a company, Lone Star Disc, where he was like, you know, the Texan, he won a pro tour. I mean, he was like, I'm not going to say the face, because I would say that was Nico. But, I mean, he was very involved with Lone Star. And then leaves, which is a shock, but also not a shock after what's been going on at Lone Star. And then just simply, Innova just posts it. You know, doesn't give them the announcement, doesn't hype it up at all. You know, just, hey, Emerson Keith, here we go, team champion. So it's just kind of a weird thing to me to have the brands, if there is a such thing as spoiling, have the brands be doing a lot of the spoiling behind the scenes. And I think that's what people, or the fans, don't understand, because, I mean, Broderick left yesterday, and, you know, he was like, man, it's so crazy to be on, like, the inside of this, you know, like, normally you just hear, like, what you hear, and, you know, you, like, believe it, and it is what it is, you know, and obviously I'm pretty in tune, without even asking. I mean, the information about this Eagle thing, I didn't ask. I didn't say, hey, what, you know, where do I, you know, how can I get this information? You know, I saw somebody, and they said, hey, did you hear about Eagle? And I said, no. And they said, oh, yeah. So-and-so from, you know, that side told me that he's going to MVP, and, like, the contract's done, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, whew. You know, wow. I text Simon, of course, and said, oh, yeah, hey, congrats. You know, you got your buddy back. And he just put, like, the praying hands emoji. So again, that's the same thing that happened last year. I'm not sure what that means. This video could be a big waste of time, and I could be wrong. But, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how I feel about it. One thing I will say is if MVP does happen to get Eagle, holy moly, I'm not going to say this is game-changing, but, I mean, we have two powerhouses now with Discraft, you know, having Anthony Umbrella, having Macbeth, having Paige Pierce, having, you know, all the Chris Dickerson, the great team they have. And then you have MVP, you know, who has, you know, the three-headed GOAT at this point, possibly. I mean, you have James Conrad, Simon Lizotte, and Eagle McMahon. With Eagle and Simon have already been proved before to be such a great duo when it comes to creating content, going far, memorable moments, huge moments, you know, wins. I mean, from social media to the best places in disc golf, places being first place, you know, those two guys can cover it all. James Conrad, I mean, has probably the most famous shot in disc golf, if that's not Philo's Albatross at this point. But, I mean, there's so many great things going on at MVP. And again, I have a competitor of MVP. I own Finish Line Discs. I'm not sitting here. This isn't a rah MVP party. You know, I just respect what they're doing. I think they make a lot of good discs, discs that I enjoy, discs that you guys probably enjoy if you're watching this. But yeah, I mean, MVP is a good place to be. I think that they're obviously paying attention to the marketing and paying attention to the disc golf market in order to be able to know when to get Simon and when to pivot, and then knowing that Simon being there is going to get interest and customers involved, and then they're going to be able to afford another player. And, you know, the second piece of Smash Bros, Big Ripper Bros, I don't know what do they call them? The Smash Bros, right? I think so. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, so getting Eagle and Simon back together, if they pull this off, is going to be amazing. But moral of the story, the manufacturers, usually the leaving manufacturer is typically the one that spoils these kind of things, just so you guys know. You know, and again, if that's the way that they want to operate, and like I said, there's a public announcement that proves this with Prodigy. Oh, bye, Matt. Congrats on, you know, West Side. Like, what I'm saying is, like, proven beyond reasonable doubt, even just by a literal post that you can see these manufacturers make that aren't going anywhere on the internet. They're there forever. There's probably a million screenshots on Reddit or wherever people get their disc golf news. You know, and that's where it comes from. So I'm tired of hearing all this, oh, well, so-and-so spoiled this and so-and-so spoiled that. It's like, something isn't a spoiler if it's private. There's so many things that go on in this world that none of us know about, and we still don't know about, and we might never understand because it's private information. People sign an NDA and they stick to it. They don't talk to it. They don't tell their kids. They don't tell their grandma. They don't tell their grandpa. They know information, and they shut up. And as soon as that is dishonored by the first 10 people, then at that point, it is what it is. And if I had an announcement coming and Simon Lizotte wanted to go talk about it or tweet about it or whatever, I would be happy. Because what's that going to do? That's going to create more hype. Does Simon Lizotte need hype from me No. Does Eagle McMahon need hype from me? No. But the point of creating hype and creating a buzz is to get people involved and interested in and talking about things. So none of that is bad. If people are talking about your contract and you in a good light, which again, I love Simon. I mean, he's a great friend of mine. I mean, we did Vlogmas together this year. He's a great person. Nothing of me spoiling his deal or tweeting what I tweeted was out of hate. I was excited. I mean, I love rooting for Ricky and Macbeth because those guys bring eyes to the sport. More eyes on the sport is more fans. More fans is more opportunity for players. I mean, I want the sport to grow. I mean, I'm in the camp, like I sometimes stir the pot or create conversation or whatever to get people engaged and talking, and I think that that's where the value is for us, is to get people interested. So for me, of course, I was involved, but I wanted Simon's thing. I wanted people really getting jovial about it, and all I tweeted was Lazard announcement coming tomorrow. I wasn't trying to take any credit. I wasn't trying to spoil it. I was trying to get people going, oh crap, this dude knows there's an announcement tomorrow. Let's get excited, let's get interested, and let's be ready in the morning to talk about this and, make a podcast, whatever it is about it that you guys do. That was my goal. It wasn't to ruin anybody's day. But, this whole Eagle thing really made me sit back and realize that there's so much more spoiling that the fan base will never see. And again, not that I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to expose this. I'm going to tell my side of it. It's not about my side of the story. I personally don't have anything to defend. Simon's already said it wasn't me. He wasn't talking about me. I know the whole time that I didn't do anything wrong. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. But as soon as these manufacturers start having a little bit more respect for their ex-players, is I think a pretty good start. And maybe you guys, the fan base who was buying these discs, can start demanding that from these companies. Is demanding these brands, when someone leaves, to have some respect or join. I mean, maybe Innova and Emerson didn't want any hype or didn't want any conversation. They didn't want Emerson to go on a podcast and, announce, hey, I'm going to here or there. But it seems like a weird thing to me to probably pay someone a decent amount of money, have them switch from a sponsor that I would have thought he was going to be with, possibly to the end of his career, being a Texas-based company, brand new company, paying him a lot of money. He won a pro tour. I would have assumed that would have been a pretty good relationship. So for me to see that switch, I would think, hey, let's hype this up. Something big's happening. He's moving, blah, 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 blah. Let's tease it for a couple days. And we just didn't get that. And I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not a professional marketer. That's why I throw a Frisbee for a living. But it just seems like a weird thing to me. But moral of the story, Eagle McMahon is going to MVP discs. I'm posting this, or recording this January 4th. I'll be posting this when Eagle makes his announcement, because I'm not going to spoil anything. But yeah, that's what I know. The manufacturers probably need to be a little more careful on who they tell and what workers at what factory they tell people. And that's probably how it needs to work. And until then, I appreciate you guys for watching. Sorry this is kind of a long sit and talk video, but hopefully this interested you, and hopefully this gave you some information going forward. And I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. I just signed up for a tournament actually a couple days ago. I'm going to play the Shelly Sharp Memorial here in Arizona. I think that it's the 17th, 18th, 19th of January. So going to be back on the course soon. Hopefully full health. Hopefully be able to play some good rounds and get back in the swing of things. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.